Avenue, one of the co-founders, and along with the team, we brought you Empire Avenue, and to your hopefully you're not blaming me for any of your addictions or hatred or any of those things. Not yet? Not yet. That's good.
All right.
That's good.
So actually, people were asking, what is Empire Avenue? Actually, some folks here haven't even signed up, but they came anyway because they want to learn about this topic. So what is it?
So Empire Avenue is a virtual stock market where you can invest in anyone, in any of your friends, any trusted brands, anyone in this room that has a ticker, for example, you can go invest in them, and you invest in them in virtual currency. And what we're doing is basically when you join up, you connect all of your social networks that we allow currently, and we're going to expand that to many, many more. So in this case, let's say Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Flickr, LinkedIn, and a Facebook page. And our algorithms every day go through and they look at your interaction and your engagement and your activity in each of those networks. Now they give you a score out of 100 for each one of those, and that happens every night. And along with that, that all gets combined into a virtual share price. And that share price is kind of like your dollar value across the entire social web. And then other people come along and they say, hey, this person is worth 60 and they're doing this and that thing. I'd kind of like to connect with them. I'm going to invest some money. They're going to buy some shares in you. And that creates a connection. And every day that you're active, you get paid in virtual currency, and then that gets divvied up to all of your shareholders, which continues on creating an economy. We like to call this a reputation economy. We're actually building the world's first reputation economy. Because it's not just about what, your algorithmic, I've been retweeted by 100 people, so therefore I have this score. It's, hey, you know what? Other people actually think enough of me to actually buy. Actually, you're sitting there going, I only have 1,000 virtual currency EVs. Am I really going to spend it on dupes? Nah, you know what? I'm going to go spend it on Jeremiah. He's a lot better, and I want to get his stuff in my feed. And you know what? I think he's going to pay me more because you know what? He's producing more stuff. And tomorrow I'm going to have more currency because of Jeremiah. Or it might be just that you like Jeremiah better than Dukes, which is quite possible. And that actually adds to your reputation. When you think about what reputation actually is, if you think about it, in your own personal lives, reputation is about what you do. So, I have some knowledge of what Jeremiah does, and that's good. I mean, I know he's part of Altimeter Group, and that's great. I know that he's followed by a whole pile of people, and that gives me a sense of what his online reputation value is. That's all good. But what really gets me is seeing huge numbers of people buying into Jeremiah, into doing stuff with him and all that kind of stuff. The fact that you guys are all here because of the organization of this one man, I would say that's reputation. You've actually believed in him enough to actually do that. So that's part of what Empire Avenue is. Now, it's a game. I am never going to say it isn't a game. So if you're looking at me saying, why not create an entire platform and not make it a game? It's not. It's a game. We are up there. It's seen through the lens of a game. And when you say to me, I've never gamed in my life, I will beg to differ and say that most of what we do in life is gaming. And we just basically distill it and give some scores and allow you to.
Okay, cool.
I can talk forever too, by the way.
Yeah, so Roundtable is supposed to be that. Unfortunately, they can't hear us, so we had to turn the mics on. But we want to hear from everybody. It's probably not going to reach.
Oh. Can you talk a little bit about the business model of how you're thinking about, it's a business, so how you start to monetize some of that interesting information that you probably start to understand?
Sure, I'll repeat it back so everybody can hear it. So what's the business model? How are you going to make money?
So there's any number of different ways that Empire Avenue can make money. And first and foremost, it is a game. So you can buy virtual currency, and I'm sure you've seen the shop, and you can buy virtual upgrades. You can own more shares than people buying one of the upgrades. You can buy those upgrades in ETH too, but you can short-click it and go through with dollars. There's luxury items that you can buy, and there's a couple available in dollar value as well. And that's one monetization model. And if you think about it, that's actually a very successful monetization model. It's worked for any number of companies. One of them starting with Z, and they're quite profitable, and I believe more successful than most game companies have ever been. The secondary model is, of course, brands coming in, and we've talked about this, the idea of as brands are coming in, they want to reach customers, consumers. They can obviously buy branded items and luxury virtual goods and things like that. Those are the primary two ways that we're going to really go after money at this point. Ultimately, there's so much more that this ecosystem can do, and we kind of hope that others in the ecosystem will actually build upon Empire Avenue too. I mean, we do have an API, and can I make my little announcement today?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not complete. Unfortunately, we've been so busy this last week because we've been seeing growth, and we're actually working on our servers. I don't know if you've noticed the site's been a little slow this week. We're working with our friends down at Rackspace to get new servers up and running, which they should be up and running in the next few days, which is very good. The site's actually been performing better today. We've done a lot of optimizations today. We knew this was going to happen, but if you talk to any coders, any programmers, you're always kind of waiting for that minute that it actually happens before you actually turn on all the different things that you thought we'd never have to do. And that's good. But one of the things that we are going to launch is we have an API. It's what we call the basic auth API, which is basically you have to provide a username and password. This was never very ideal. We never wanted to have your personal information in anyone's hands. So the number of API calls, the actual calls through to the API have been very limited. You can't get much information out of there. So anyone building an app was never going to have a lot of information. We've been testing, and we will over the next 2 weeks. Actually, and I'm asking right now for anyone out there who is interested in developing on it, our second version of the API, version 1 will remain. So anyone who built applications, don't worry.
Like the iPhone app.
Yeah, exactly. The iPhone app will remain. It'll still work. Everything will be fine. The developers don't have to go crazy. But there will be a version 2, and version 2 is actually OAuth capable. You'll have you'll have 4 security levels, not about 4 security levels. One being give my market data out to that person, company, API, whatever, and they can do some analysis on it. And of course, there's other 3 levels so that someone can build some really interesting, fun apps that build around the ecosystem.
All right, so you're announcing this now.
Well, I'm announcing that I really need some beta testers. I was hoping that we'd have it finished today so we could actually have it announced.
But Scobel will let the right people know just by seeing the tweet. So.
Well, there you go. So if anyone's
developers follow it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So
right.
am I going to get? Oh, you can tweet out to @Dukes if people are interested.
Okay.
And then we can.
Thanks for making the time to talk about it here. So yeah.
I have a question. Over the last week or so, a lot of folks have been trying to compare you to Clout. And I think there's some similarities of how influence and popularity and all this comes into play. But can you kind of talk about your perception of how you guys...
And if you're on the chat screen, I'll repeat it, but if you could jump into the chat room and let me know how the audio sounds. I'm trying to make sure we pay attention to everybody. So the question is, do you compete with Clout?
I don't personally think so. If we had gone out of our way to create a system that basically just created algorithms based on the number of retweets, analysis of your followers and things like that, then yes, of course we'd be competing with Cloud. Cloud doesn't allow you to influence their scores by having other people buy into you. And they're very, very, very open about that. And there's a reason for that. That's what they believe is the right model to do it. We believe that human beings ultimately know who you are. And ultimately, this is about social and about social media. And people buying into you is just one example of people actually saying, I value what you say. You don't have millions and millions of virtual currency when you start. You want to build that up. You're going to build your network. And that is how we're completely different. We are a social network. We are a social network and a social game. Clout is a social analysis engine that gives you scores for different things. And they have a business model which obviously works for them. Ours is almost entirely different. So I can't see how we'd be competing with them at this point.
But so that's like the end goal is to be a reputation sort of identifier, right? But the means to that goal is different for both of you.
So the question is, what's the end goal of this? So I mean, everybody's accruing this eaves and their virtual dollars, so to speak, and trying to get the share price up. There's 2, just in case if you're not familiar, there's your net worth, which you can buy virtual goods or other people's shares. And then there's also your stock price, your eaves price. So people are accumulating all this and spending a ton of social energy and capital And Chris Perillo just tweeted about this, and so now a lot of people are coming in to watch this. So more social capitals emerging onto this discussion.
Ooh, welcome to social capitalism.
So what's the end? Like Christine's right. What's the point of this?
You know what? In the end, you're going to find different reasons to be on Empire Avenue. And I think the end goal is going to be different for each individual person. As a business, my goal is to get everybody on there and to allow you to have that space to do whatever. Look, for example, if Twitter said, you know what, our end goal is to promote revolution in the Middle East, they would have been laughed out of the planet 5 years ago. But the reality is Twitter is being used for any number of different reasons. Some people use it socially, some people use it as a news service, some people use it as whatever it is that they want to use it for. I have no idea all the different ways that people use Twitter.
So does that mean that if your plan is world domination, you're simply not going to tell us?
I do wish to have a Zeppelin in the world, yes. An airship would be something that I'm actually...
So let's explore all the different constituents around the game. So we can talk about players, and let's talk about brands. There's some big name brands right here today. Then there's developers, right? And then there's people that are just interested in connecting with others.
Yeah.
So let's go around all the different constituents. First, let's talk about. Well, I think we talked about why people would want to game or play this. Did we address that enough? No. Okay. So why do people, consumers, humans, people, want to play this game?
Well, for one thing, it's fun. I hope it's fun. If it isn't fun, I would think that we've gone down the wrong path for sure. It's mostly about connecting to people, and this is one of the major things that.
But can we use other social networks for that?
Well, you can, but we fit in between Twitter and Facebook. For example, if someone follows you, I don't know how many people follow you at this point. How many people follow you? 30,000?
In what?
In Twitter?
70.
Like 80,000.
80,000. Do you know all the followers?
All of them.
Every single one of them?
All of them.
Yeah? Fantastic.
I love them all.
Exactly. On Facebook, when someone friends me, I'm like going, did I meet this person? When did I meet them? And what did I tell them? And are they going to have access to my photos and the things I say about my family and all that kind of stuff? So there's a wide disconnect between Twitter and Facebook. That's a pretty big margin. I would never be able to go up to you and friend you on Facebook. If I follow you on Twitter, I may read your stuff, but I don't really know. You don't really know me, and I probably do follow some of you, and you probably don't even know that. And you probably all follow me, but I don't know that either. But the difference between the buying mechanism is that when I buy you I can buy anybody. So I can buy each one of you. I see some value in you, I buy you.
So, but buying means that their stream comes into your homepage.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But okay, so there was a question earlier, and I had a question earlier. If my Facebook account feed is private, and you follow me, but we're not Facebook friends,
you will not see the Facebook stuff.
okay.
Yeah.
So you can only see other people's Facebook data if they're truly your Facebook friends, that you've admitted that in the permissions inside of Facebook.com.
Yes. Exactly.
By the way, the market's very confused about that. You got to fix that.
Yes, we know.
We
You know the
guys
interface. We also know that the interface needs work, and we are working on it.
Okay. I'm assuming
You call
get
this a
past the
mid-pivot.
Yeah. I mean, that's the right time for me to interview you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Question.
Sure.
How do you handle risk when you buy into people who suddenly go inactive and you run out of ETH?
Sell them.
Sell them?
Yeah.
So just as soon as you buy, you can resell, and their value doesn't plummet simply because they've gone inactive, though?
If they've gone inactive in social media, their value will plummet.
Yes.
Yes.
So in an environment like this, I mean, how do you guys balance the risk from buying into people to make sure that the people that are joining maintain enough currency to keep playing?
Well, it depends on how you play the game. I mean, that's always a very difficult thing. It's kind of like in the real world, right?
So how do you get more? How does your share price go up? There's two ways I know of, but tell us.
Right. So the share price goes up mostly by your social media activity, right? So that's what you're talking about in activity.
So that means
right?
you should buy other people's shares that you know are socially active, right?
That's absolutely one option of way of looking
Take a
at it.
gaming strategy here.
Yeah, and do remember that people are active at different levels, and generally speaking, we're kind of spiky activity. Almost, we get bored of Twitter. I get bored of Twitter. I get bored of Facebook. I'll go back to Twitter. I'll go back to Facebook. I'll go back to Flickr. Where we get, you see almost a 2-week cycle in almost any person's use of any of these networks. So you will see cycles, and we take that into account. So we actually look at your top 5 social networks. This is all public information, by the way. It's all available. top 5 social networks that you're active in, and we combine that together to make your share price. And we actually look at that and your activity. We calculate something called an audience quality and an audience reach kind of thing. And actually, it's an audience quality as well as the quality of the stuff you put out, because we're always looking for interaction and engagement. And that will drive most of your share price. If you click on someone's share price, you'll actually get a little bar that says this person's share price is made up of 40% social media, 60% shares. And then, of course, people buying into you will drive the share price.
The way why this is so sticky, I'll break down game mechanics and explore it for a week and a half. So you're going to invest in people that you know will be social, and ideally, you invest in them before they join the game. You can buy them pre-IPO. You don't want to buy too many because the dividends will actually be lower. And the part of the way that game mechanics go, this guy's so sneaky, is that you will have to go invite those people. So I bought 200 shares of Chris Brogan before he joined, pre-IPO. And then I bugged him to go join. And then when he joined, boom, it shot up. I bought Chris Perillo before he joined. I bought, who's watching this, by the way, and he's teasing me about my dividends.
Would SEC come and get you for that?
Actually, so I on my blog, I track all the people on the move that are in social media. You guys see my list? So they submit to a form, so I see that form before everybody else does. So I actually know who's getting social media jobs before I announce it. So actually I have a lot of insider trading.
It's like market manipulation too.
Yeah, it totally is.
It's insider information.
Yeah.
So, I did hear that someone got a job from Empire Avenue, and that made my week.
Well, from the Facebook community.
That's right, from Social Empire.
Right.
That's very cool.
So back to the game mechanics. So it's tricky because then you're going to find people that are going to be social or brands. So Intel, I bought Intel stock right when it launched that day because I saw Ryan joined and Rebecca and some other people. I said, okay, I know it's going to happen. So I bought that shares. It was like 20, and now it's like almost at 90 plus, right?
109.
109. So I saw that. So the game mechanics work in a different way. So if I buy these shares, it also means that I want that stock to do well, so I'm more likely to interact with that stock that I bought. And so it's a weird advocacy thing. So the way I play this out and I'm focusing on customer strategy, right, as our research. So I see there's 3 things for consumers and brands, and some weaknesses too. So the first one is engagement. I'm in heavy engagement with the brands that I buy, or people that I buy, like Chris Pearl or any of you. Obviously, you guys are going to be very engaged because you're here tonight. The second one I see is loyalty, because I bought that stock and I'm more likely to interact with it. But if I think the company's not going to be very social, I'm going to ditch the stock, and then my loyalty stops.
And that's the activity thing you were
Right.
What do you do?
That's
the activity thing you said, what do you do? You sell them.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I don't think they're going to play the game and be social, or if it's a brand that nobody's going to talk about, the data also works. So if somebody talks about Intel a lot, right, will Intel also benefit if they're not that social?
Yes, a little bit.
Okay.
Yes.
So obviously I want to buy Coke. Coke is the #1 brand on Facebook, #1 fans. So obviously I want to buy that because even if they don't do anything, their share will go up because everybody's going to talk about them, right?
Oh well, okay. If you're talking about the ones who haven't joined yet. You're talking about the ones
if they join.
Oh, if they join, yeah.
And even if their participation low is, but the discussion about their brand is high.
Of course, it's interaction with anybody.
Okay.
If they're talking about you and talking to you.
So therefore, I'm going to buy the top 10 social media accounts, top 10 celebrities in social media, top 10 brands in social media.
Right.
The ones in Empire Avenue, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So done. I've already done that.
Fantastic.
Good. All right. And then the third thing. So it's engagement, loyalty, and then the third one is advocacy. So if I bought Intel, which I did, I'm more likely to tell people you should buy Intel and engage with them.
Yep. And that happens about per people too, not just brands.
Right.
I mean, if you look at some of the top people on Empire Avenue, they're not huge brands or anything like that, but they really do go out of their way. They actually really do engage socially with everybody, and they get other people to engage with them.
That's right. So that's the game.
Huge.
That's the game strategy. Are you streaming too?